Phil, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Hey. Woo!
Wow.
Happy New Year. Yeah, it's graphics like crazy. Not even graphics, just woo, it's New
I
Year.
love it. I don't have to do it in post because you were so prepared.
Happy 2024, my friend.
Cheers. I was gonna get some champagne, but my tummy's a little upset, as they say.
Uh-oh.
So I figured I won't throw any champagne on it. You got to put the ginger ale or the lemon lime sodas. That's my
Definitely.
to the new year. Happy New Year.
This is a little Schlitz malt liquor. So, it's what you got. It's just what you got laying around, right? Happy New Year.
The good stuff.
I don't have a noisemaker, so I got to use a harmonica. Should all the acquaintance be forgot?
I don't remember the lyrics.
Yeah, I just found out that it's not. Should old acquaintance be forgot? Why would you that old acquaintance? No, it's ald, and I'm guessing ald is bad. Ald would be like a.
Is that what that old long saying means, or where that all ties together? I guess because I never understood what the title of the song was. I just knew what it was.
Something in Europe. Crazy Europeans coming over here, getting involved in our new year.
This episode is presented by OIT VoIP. Enhance your client's communication abilities with our VoIP solution, featuring integrated billing, on-demand training, and live US support. Collaborate seamlessly with Microsoft Teams integration and put your entire phone system in your pocket with Mobile X. Improve your offerings and increase profitability with reliable service for 1/10 of the average MSP acquisition cost. To learn more, visit oit.co or dial 844-CALL-OIT.
Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages in internet land. My name is Aaron Bolton, and you are watching 38 at 38, where we talk about ridiculous job stories. And each week, on each episode, we have a guest coming in, and they come in and they talk about their most ridiculous job story, and then they choose a quote that pertains to one of my jobs that I had. And then on the spot, I got to talk about the job. So it's fun, it's goofy, it's ridiculous. You'll enjoy it. I promise. Hold me to it. Don't hold me to it.
So sound off in the comments if he didn't fulfill his promise. Let us know.
Yeah, drop an F in the chat. I don't know what that means, by the way. Have you heard people like YouTubers or something? What does that mean?
F in the chat is like if something bad happens, like sound off, drop F in the chat, lads, because my girlfriend just broke up with me or something.
Oh, so they're like, oh, F. Oh, okay. Like,
yeah, it's just like a fail, a bad, bad situation.
Oh, okay. Look at that. The more you know. Guys, you watch 38 at 38, you're going to get an education. You're going to get an education up in here. Well, I'm very, very excited about this episode. Not only is it the first episode of this wonderful brand new year, 2024. Phenomenal year, great success. If this was a movie, it'd be like fast forward to like 2025 and like just everything's on fire. I had no idea.
This is fine. This is the year of Blade Runner, apparently. So I mean, it should be a lot.
Right.
Should be a lot darker. The clothing should be a lot.
Right.
I'm not apparently in the movie that they showed us. So
no. We're very bright. We're like, of course, Blade Runner. That was like in one location. What if that's just the one crappy spot?
Yeah, this is the one crummiest city in the Blade Runner world. Yeah. That was what it was like there.
Florida's doing great. Texas is thriving. This place is like Oklahoma. I've never seen.
That makes a lot of sense. I never considered that. Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, look, just take your robot self over to Vermont. Just go to Vermont. I can't believe Vermont. Can you imagine Blade Runner? Okay, hold on. Blade Runner this is a tangent. Yeah. Blade Runner. I've never seen it, but I get the concept, right? Is that supposed to be all over the world? Because just move. Just go somewhere else.
I mean, yeah, you
Go
have a
for
good
that.
point. They really never show like when you have to accept this world, this new reality. It's dystopian and it's over the whole globe. Or no, this is just
Right.
Philadelphia. Everyone else kind of kept going, but for some reason, Philly looks like
Well,
dystopia.
look, I don't think it's for some reason Philly. I think it's
I know some
I think
Philadelphians
it's
that are gonna call me on that one, but that's all
I
right. That's
think
all right.
it's like, "Where is this?" "Oh, Philly?" "Oh, okay, tracks." Alright, wait, is there a Spirit airline that I can get out of here? It's the only thing. That's awesome. Well, alright, not to get off track, let's jump right back on. I am very, very excited to have my guest. This guest today, we have Mr. Phil Buck. Not only, well, first, he is the host. That's him right there. He is the host of the wildly successful YouTube show and on other spots. I'm sure you will tell us AI Roundup, where he gets down and dirty with the best and the newest AI news and updates. Really great stuff. You guys need to watch it, subscribe, like, subscribe, drop an F in the chat, or I don't know.
Always. Yes.
Always, always. But not only that, that's huge enough, but he is also the producer of this show for MMN, MSP Media Network.
There you
He's
go.
the
There you go.
producer, he's the editor, and I love it. He's been the editor from the get go of this show. So a year and a half. Has it been a year
And
and a
this is
half?
episode 20. So yeah, yeah.
What? Yeah,
Yeah,
past a year and a half. All right, very good.
we're up
And
there.
we've been wanting to do this. I've been wanting to have him. He's been wanting to be a guest, and we haven't been able, just schedules or whatever. And now we're able to do it. I'm excited about this. Phil, what's going on? How you doing, man?
Man, I am great. I am so glad to be here. I'm in the background of every show. I get to pop in every now and again, but like this show is just right up my alley. I am very similar to you in a lot of ways. I actually went and did the math. I tried to figure out how many jobs I've had, and I think it's probably like 13 employments that I've had across my career. But that
That's right.
doesn't count all number. I like when I started to think about my side hustle stuff, like because I've been in bands, I've run blogs, I have meme pages, I have a couple LLCs. I mean, I don't even know where to I didn't even know how
Right.
to tally those up. I was just like, we're not going to count those. But my
Right.
career path has been very similar to yours in that I have numerous hilarious job experiences. So I was
Good.
super excited. I'm always in the background of the show listening to you guys, and I'm always like, man, I totally get it. And I want to pipe in. So this is the fact that I got a chance to come actually be a guest on your show. I'm stoked because I've got some good ones for you.
Well, good, because I'm like I said, I'm excited about this because all the guests that we've had in the past, except for maybe a couple, they have been original, fresh guests and who are not as familiar or unfamiliar with the concept of 3838 after, of course, when they get the email, when we talk about it and everything. But you are obviously very well acquainted with 38 at 30. I would hope
Oh
so.
yeah,
I would hope so.
probably one of the
Like,
most acquainted with the show. before.
right, 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 right. Maybe more acquainted than I am. I mean, you know the show. I know the stories. I got the stories. You got the show. So really excited about this. So we're going to be able to, like, we talked about this. This is going to be a great episode, ladies and gents. Buckle in, and yeah, and all you very avid listeners, all the fans out there, millions and millions of you out there. You guys should know Phil because we reference him quite often in throughout the show, and we got to have you start popping in. You got to be. You are Jamie. You are Jamie
You're
from
right.
Joe Rogan, right? You're
Yeah,
the
I should
Jamie.
be doing that more often, but I
We
don't
were
want to intrude, but yeah, you can just
no
call me in like Jamie, Phil, hey, and I'll pop in. I'll just
value
pop it in.
add. It will not be an intrusion. It's a value add, my friend.
Pop-up
Trust.
producer. It's like the VHS pop-up and I'll just make
Pop
the little
up
sound.
video.
Yeah.
Oh, bloop,
Hey, what's
boop,
up?
boop. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
here.
Did a little thing. Did you know that Phil in 1994? Just little factoids about you. Phil, let tell me a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about you,
All right.
about
Well, since we're
your
talking
your.
job stories, obviously, like you said, a lot of people may, if they've been watching shows on the MSP Media Network, maybe they know me as the editor, maybe they know me as AI Roundup host. I'm a producer here, so I've been in the world of film and video since like high school and college. That's what I went to school for. But my career path took me in a lot of
I didn't
different
know that.
directions.
I
Hmm?
didn't know that's what you went to school for. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did. That's
Awesome.
what I got my education for, but you know how things work out. I
Right.
didn't work in film and video for, quite a while, because my growing up, my dad is an eye doctor, and I worked for him, like, pretty much one of my earliest jobs. I can tell you, since we're talking about job stories, I'll just throw in this is like an experience. It's not like a story. It's just like a little
No,
one.
that's
But one of my first jobs was waiting tables at Perkins, and I was a terrible waiter.
Perkins.
Yeah, it did not work
Perkins
out
has
for me.
Raiders? I thought Perkins was like a cafeteria, like Libby's.
No, it's kinda like a
Perkins is a
diner vibe, you know, like,
okay, all right.
mainly breakfast foods, desserts, and I mean, anyway, I was, in high school, it was my second job was waiting tables at Perkins. To get to the point, the reason I'm not a waiter anymore is I remember taking a tray of drinks out to a whole family, you know, like a tin top or something. I've got everybody's water, drinks, teas, whatever they wanted, and I'm putting them out on the table, and I think I'm getting down to the last 2 or 3, cups, and just let the drinks go right into this, you know, grandfather's lap, like, just poured
Oh,
drinks all over his lap,
oh,
like,
oh, just cold, cold drinks right
yeah,
on his
like the
dad's
worst
lap.
place you could get somebody wet, because what is he gonna sit there the whole
Right.
rest of his dinner, like, just
Yes.
soaked in his pants? And he did, you know, like
You know why? Because he's a grandpa. When you were in high school, that means he's probably from the greatest generation, World War II generation. He
they
was
were
he
super
like,
nice
"You think."
about it, but, like, I can't imagine being in that position. I would have been so angry. You know, my manager had to come out and take care
Yeah.
of it. They took me off the table. I wasn't the waiter anymore for
They
the
didn't
rest of
even want you.
they were like, "Phil, why
The
don't you go
people were
take a
fine. The customers were fine, the guests were fine, and the manager's like, "I would think about that. I got just
Mhm,
this."
mhm. So, yeah, I
Aw.
didn't stick around in the service industry really. That's not entirely true because working for my dad as an eye doctor, I ended up working in optical, you know, selling glasses for years and years, working for eye doctors for years and years. And, luckily, you know, when the pandemic came around, I was able to fall back on my video editing skills 'cause, I didn't really wanna work in those environments, you know, like, I just had our first kid, so this is, like, whatever, 4 years ago, and I had the option, like, "Hey, I'm gonna stay home with her, I'm gonna work freelance as a video
Mhm.
editor." Um and that worked out really well until I found my way to the MSP Media Network, which is why I'm so lucky to know you and so many other people. To you know, it's just nice to have a place to come to work every day versus like what podcast am I going to be working for this week or what
Right,
random editing gig is going to fall in my lap this week.
right.
So you know, along the way, I've worked a lot of different types of jobs, and you know, one of them was a detour from not video editing, not optical, not eye doctors, but I tried to be a musician for a while. I tried to like have a band that would like pay my bills. Um,
Okay.
and let me tell you, didn't work out. Uh,
That's a tough gig, man. That's a tough gig.
yeah, Bank of America credit card paid my bills for a while. And then
Yeah.
I had that, you know, I had to work that off after
Dude,
several years.
good for you, dude. Good for so you had a kid, you were married, had a kid, or you had a family, right? And you were like, "You know what?" Or is that when you wanted to you were wanting to have a band or no?
This was way earlier than ever having a family. This was probably gosh, 10 years ago when, you know, I had quit a job and just tried to sink all my effort into playing music, playing in bands and, you know, driving around in a crummy conversion van and with
Dude,
3
that's
other stinky dudes, you know, like,
so how
um,
long did you do it?
I think there was about a year where I was never like employed. I was just doing
Right.
whatever I could do to get by. And then I started picking up side jobs, you know, friend of mine that would like hang doors for Home Depot started to take me to do jobs with him. So I'd pick up some cash there and I was like, this credit card's maxed out. I can't pay rent. I got to do something. So this leads into my worst job story for you. So
Right.
um there's going
Let's
to be a little
wait,
bit of a build up here.
by the way, I think that's what I wanted to say. Good for you because that's a dream. You know, that's really like, oh, you know what? I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to do this. You knew how hard it was. I'm sure you weren't like, I got this. Hello, Mariah Carey. You want me to open up for you? It's so weird. That's the first artist that came to mind. Obviously,
Well,
you weren't singing R&B, or were you?
she's
I
very
don't know.
successful, so that is a great comparison. I
That
wish I
would be
could have been Mariah
phenomenal,
Carey. I mean, I
right?
spoke to
One day. Hey, 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 you're you got a lot of time left, man. You could be Mariah Carey. I'll
yeah,
get you hooked up with
I
Nick
gotta work
Cannon.
on my pipes a
We'll do
little
this.
bit, she can hit that register. I
Whew.
don't think I'm gonna get there, but, I'll keep
Right.
working on it. I spoke to one
One
of
day.
my, daughters, like, I went to a birthday party for kids and spoke to one of the other parents there for the first time, and we both had the same experience where we had these years where we were trying to be musicians and, you do what you gotta do to try to make it work, and, we were both just kind of lamenting, like, you got it's almost like winning the lottery to make it as a working musician. I mean, at least
Right.
for what a lot of us have in mind. I think a lot of working musicians, their their work is probably way different than you think you're gonna be a rock star. Well, actually, you're just playing weddings and,
Right.
all
And
that
you're
kind of
and you're
stuff.
people are making money, they're successful, people are being able to pay their bills, and they're talented, but, they just that's where they're at, and that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, I'm
cool,
not knocking it. I'm just saying that,
Right,
like,
right.
realistically, economically, when you look at being a musician, it's like some people make it the dream, of playing the original music they want or playing, but it's just hard. It's just a
Right.
saturated market. So, anyway,
Yeah.
moving ahead a little bit, so one of my friends that I knew from, the music world, he worked in a kind of an adjacent industry for a sound and staging company. So basically, the main meat and potatoes of this place is they go set up, big sound systems for concerts. So you go see, like, this was in Nashville, Tennessee. So if you go out on, they have like a river barge that they'll set up shows on. You go
Oh,
right
that's
up to
cool.
the river in Nashville, and there's like a barge where they will build a stage, giant speakers. This is the kind of stuff they did. And then they had a staging department. So you didn't really need to have any skills at all to be in the staging department. If you wanted to be in the audio and video department, you had to know how to run all
Yeah,
this
yeah.
gear. You had to know, you had to know audio engineering. You had to go to school. Most of these engineers like graduated from the university where I was at. So anyway, the thing about the staging department is that, like I said, you don't have to have any skills. So you just have to be a warm body.
Is that a roadie? Is that basically what a roadie is?
It's kind of like a roadie. Yeah, I mean, roadies. You could also
Well,
consider
roadies,
these
I guess, go
audio
on the
engineer
road, right?
guys. There
Yeah,
could
yeah,
be a
okay.
range, like it's almost like
Right.
being a stagehand. Really, it's like
Gotcha.
I think roadies often actually have a lot of experience in, they know how to work gear. They know how they
Yeah,
have
yeah.
years of all that kind of stuff. Most of what we were doing was heavy lifting. That's what you were there for. So you
Right.
would, essentially, you would spend. I should make as a comparison, as far as careers go. The other people that were working these jobs were high school, college kids on summer break. There was one guy,
Right.
Rodney, who was a character. He was just a homeless guy, and he just, they let him work there during the day when he wasn't out on the street. He would come to work with us in our crew.
That's
Um,
nice.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they would give what and it's nice they were able to give that to him, but I'm also making the point that, like, pretty much anybody could just get this gig, like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
it was
You're
just
like,
like
"That's
a
great.
So
Skill level."
this is where I'm at in my career, I'm working with the summer kids out of school, the homeless guy Rodney, and you would do crazy things where, a show had to be set up for 7 a.m. In an amphitheater. So you'd load up a trailer, a gooseneck
For
trailer.
7 AM?
Yeah, the stage had to be ready. So you'd go to work at midnight. We had the main thing that we used were called decks, and they were these big pieces of a stage that were like, I'm guessing like 6 by 12 feet, rectangles,
Uh-huh.
painted black, and you'd have to stack these things up on a trailer, like 12 high, strap
Right.
them in, drive to wherever, and then, carefully wheel them into these places, like through the back halls, build a stage at 2 in the morning, work all night, get it
So
set
wait,
up,
for
make it look
the show
nice.
is at 7 in the morning?
Yeah, it had to be ready for people to come in and start setting up, whatever's gonna
Oh,
happen that
sorry.
day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
that makes
stage
sense.
had to be there first. They couldn't wait for y'all
Yeah,
to
yeah,
build
yeah.
a stage. So you just
Right,
I
right.
mean, this is just
Makes
one
sense.
example of some of the most extreme stuff.
Oh, the barge wasn't the stage. The barge is just like the platform where then they
Right.
would put the stage. Oh, okay, that yeah, okay, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, so it was all these situations where, you're building a temporary structure. It has to look professional. It has to be, structurally sound. People can't get hurt walking on this stuff. So you have to build a physical stage, gigantic in dimensions, a lot of times overnight. So it was hard
Mhm.
work. It was kind of dangerous. I can remember some times where we would be building these like, a big aluminum things to hang lights on, and people
Mhm.
being just up on a ladder with no supports, no straps, just trying to like, these things don't
Solid.
fit together
No
like
OSHA?
easily. You have to like, make it work. Um,
No OSHA involvement. No OSHA involvement. No one's no
yeah,
one no OSHA's not there. We're like, I gotta
I mean they
no.
should be, but yeah, a lot of
They should.
times
It sounds like it.
we just did what we had to do.
Yeah.
So I came into this situation working for the staging department as like a warm body, but like I needed a job, like I was at that point, I
Right.
needed to be working. So I showed up for every gig. I was reliable to the point that I kind of moved up and became like a foreman, like my good buddy
Mhm.
that got me this job, Matt. We were both foremans together. We were foremen, I guess is what you call it, not foremans.
Yeah. For men. There 4 men. There's gotcha.
So you had some responsibility, like it was your job to come in every day and if you had a gig, you had to make sure that you had the list of everything you had to pack, you had to load the trucks, the tools, all the supplies, and if you didn't do it right, you'd show up to a job and you'd be screwed. You have to turn around and go back, load up another truck. So, it got to being a warm body to being actually kind of an important person in this operation, but we were not at the top. So there were some other guys above us. I can't even remember their names now. I think it was like Ben and Doug. And these guys were like lifelong carpenters, like they were like master
Skills.
carpenters. So they weren't just
Right.
like throwing decks together. I mean, they could build stuff from scratch for these things that this was not experience that I had. I
Right.
was I was learning the trade, but I was not by any stretch of the imagination a master carpenter or anything. So one day we're loading up a box truck with everything that we need, and these two guys come out and they're like, "All right, guys, see you later. Have a great show or have a great gig or whatever." And we're like, "What? You're headed out for the day?" They're like, "No, we quit. Like we're done." We're like, "Wait, what?" Like you don't work here anymore? Like we're on the way to a gig and you just come to tell us you're done, you quit. Which
He's like,
is
"You got it. You
right,
got it."
exactly. Which is in a lot of cases, some of these jobs, I mean, anybody could have done it with the right, if you were shown the schematics or whatever. I mean, anybody could build these stages. It wasn't crazy. Well, this is where I get to my worst job story. My craziest, most ridiculous job story is that, this company would take on bids from gigantic vendors and stuff. And some of the things that they would require, it took a master carpenter to pull this stuff off.
Right.
So
Yeah.
suddenly, after these two guys quit, they're done.
Well, no, you guys have 2 master carp oh, no, you don't
Yeah,
have
so
2
they're done. They quit.
They gone.
And so now all of a sudden I answer to the CEO of the company with my buddy, the two foremen. We're the top of the staging department, which
Nice.
is not there's a gap of
Hey,
experience here for what's happening.
dude,
So they get a
promoted
client
through
for the
default.
Gaylord, like the Gaylord hotels and resorts. I
Mhm.
don't know if you'll have
Yeah,
them
yeah,
in Florida, but they have them
yeah.
all over the country. um and they do giant conventions, giant shows, people that like think of something like Apple where they're going to do their big reveal event, it would happen at
Right, right.
something at like Gaylord. I can't remember who the client was, but they had a staging need that was on that extreme level of,
Mhm.
like you were going to build this entire thing so that they could do their like year-end presentations that needed custom flooring and needed all these arches to be built, tiered, custom wood pieces. This was not pulling out those decks I told you and loading them up
Right.
and slapping them together. This was like something that had to be built from scratch. Like
Quick question. Uh, what year would this be? Because I'm trying to in mind what what is the level of Google and YouTube? Because you know what I mean?
um
Like, just like,
this is
oh,
probably like 2010-ish,
nope.
2000. Yeah,
There,
so I
nope.
mean it was out there, but you couldn't build custom stages off of
No.
the
Couldn't
information
even
on
get
YouTube.
yeah, much
So
information on it. Nah.
we were assigned this bid, and we were responsible for coming up with how much it was going to cost to do this. And we're
Right.
just looking at everything that's being asked of us, and we just kind of we spent our time trying to figure it out. And we had to come back to our CEO and we're just like, we don't have the experience level to bid this much less make it happen. Like you
Right. Right.
you're counting on us to do the job that you had these two guys to do it, and they're gone, and
Right.
that did not work out. The CEO just got pissed. He's, I didn't ask you to tell me if we could do it or not. I asked you to tell me how much it was going to be. I mean, just super like
Well,
it was
well, it's
not
like
okay that we were.
you're like, "Oh, I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying that I don't know how to do it, and I can't
Right.
tell you how much it is."
So this led to them actually bringing back one of the guys, the oldest guy that was one of the master carpenters, kind of like came back temporarily to like patch this together to like, do literal like, architecture design, schematics and all that, like CAD design type stuff,
Oh,
and put us
wow.
onto the vendors. We had to find people that would take these, quarter inch pieces of, like a plywood size piece of quarter inch wood and do custom
Mhm.
paint where they paint the whole thing blue and then throw all these speckles on them, because this was like something we had no idea even how to start. This is just one of very few crazy things that we were like, I don't know how to do this. So he came back and he got a lot of the worst stuff squared away, but then he was done with the place. So he kind of pieced
Right.
out and we were left with putting this all together and making it look good, which we did. We worked so long and so hard. I mean, Aaron, there was at the final stretch 3 days where it wasn't even that it wasn't even that I only got 3 hours of sleep that day. It was that I literally worked for 21 hours straight. Worked, stopped to go home and sleep for 3 hours to come back and keep working to get this gig done
Oh,
in the amount of
oh,
time that was required, because there was like a deadline where the show would go on and this all had to be in place. And we did do it. We pulled it off, and I remember being like so proud of how hard we had to work to pull this together. And it was a nightmare, hell weeks of my life. I can remember that being so tired. We one of the trucks that we drove was like an F-250, like dually, with the two tires on the back. So it's like
yeah, yeah.
you need to be careful when you're driving this thing.
Well,
Well,
even
we
just to
left one of our
back it up,
hand
just to
saws.
go in reverse.
Say that again.
Just to back the truck up. Like,
Well,
you
yes,
know,
you
in
nailed
the
it.
yeah, yeah.
Because exactly what happened is I was going to leave the loading bay one morning and had left the power saw behind the thing and just ran it over because I was so tired. Like I just didn't
Yeah,
even think that I had left it back there. So after that, I decided I wasn't going to stay in the staging business much longer.
right,
It
yeah.
was this time of year, I remember like quitting before the holiday party, and then like kind of having my last hurrah was like to come back around to the holiday party and say goodbye to everybody. And that's when I decided, working at the eye doctor offices, like inside with air conditioning
Right,
and going
stable.
home at 5, 6, 7 o'clock was like really
With people
nice.
you know, people who
Yeah.
love you. Yeah. Who the fuck? Yeah, no, but dude, you gotta strike out and do your own thing. You don't know that until you do it. You don't know what else is out there. You don't know
Oh
what
yeah.
is you don't know how sweet something is until you have the sour, right? You don't get that.
Yes,
That's
that totally. I can remember working on that riverfront, sweating in 100-degree, summers,
ugh,
thinking about like, wow, I used to work inside. I'd sit in a chair all day and then there was
right.
nice, cool air blowing on me. And like, no, that's not what I'm doing.
Mm-mm.
I'm lifting heavy stuff all day and it's very hot. And I could possibly, chop a finger off or something if I'm not careful. So,
No, I
yeah, that
imagine
was
that
definitely.
there was like another you inside your head saying, "Hey, Phil. Hey, remember when the heaviest thing you had to lift was a box of contacts? Remember that? Remember that time?"
Yeah.
At what point were you like just hammering something or putting something up and you're like, "Whew, being in a band sucks." It's like, this is
I had
part of
that thought many
it?
times before, yeah, before working that job. I mean, there's many aspects of being in a band that can suck, and at that point, the job kind of takes over. I don't even think I was playing that much music because it was just like all of a sudden
Yeah,
now you're in an industry that's adjacent. You're doing it, cool events and the entertain. Like I rolled out red carpet in front of the CMA awards. Like there was
that's pretty
very
cool.
cool things that we got to do. We're behind the scenes. There's no glory and there's no glamorous side of it. You're like you wear all black because you're not supposed to be seen in these scenarios. But
Right, right.
if you wanted to be in that industry, I mean, our boss, the CEO of the company, was like mixing audio for James Taylor and stuff like that. I mean, so we were very close to the top of, if you want to be a musician, well, there's the best people in the world right there. You're doing it. You're watching the winners of the CMA awards just walk by.
Well,
You
and
rolled out that carpet that they're walking on.
they did it. They're there, and it's what you want to do. And I was thinking about this. I'm like, how many times? I'm sure there's numerous times where you're imagining in your head, because I know I would, where it's like you're this close to the talent, you're this close to, and how many stories have we heard of, that just that one break, just
Yeah.
that one, that one break or that one connection or that one, and it wouldn't be, even though you were in the labor side of things, it wouldn't be ridiculous to think, look, what's his name? Harrison Ford was a carpenter on the movie set.
He
And
could
he
have come
just,
help
and
me a lot for
thanks a lot, Harrison Ford.
where
Yeah.
were you when we needed
Yeah,
you?
Phil,
Love it.
Phil, thank you so very much. I appreciate that. We're gonna come back with you're gonna ask me about my job story, but right now we're gonna take a little break for the sponsorship.
Are you engrossed by the intriguing world of AI? Do you find yourself relying more on ChatGPT every day? Are you fascinated by creating visuals with Midjourney or Stable Diffusion? Or could it be you're contemplating the deep-seated implications AI has for your professional field? If you're struggling to keep abreast of all the AI developments, don't worry. I'm Phil Buck, the host of AI Roundup, a weekly digest of all things AI. Make sure to check in every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern for a concise roundup of the most captivating AI news right here on the MSP Media Network.
And we're back. I hope you all loved that that advertisement. It's rated the top advertisement in the world. So I don't make these things up. Why would I? Why would I?
You definitely didn't make that up just now.
Definitely didn't make that up. All right. Thank you again for sharing that story. Now, this is the time where you get to tell me that quote from the job.
Oh, it's a good one. I'm excited about this. It says, "Pardon me, ma'am, but your 8008 is showing," which one of my
Nice.
favorite numbers.
Right. And if you are a 12-year-old boy or ever been a 12-year-old boy, you know that any calculator, if a calculator do that, you type 8008 and it looks like boob. So
You can even do, what
the
is it? 5138008 for boobies. That's another good one.
boobies. Oh, I never got that. I remember doing boobless in
Yeah,
you do a 7
that's a
3
good one.
5 5
Five
boobless.
five
That's a good
three
one.
seven. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, boobless. So
So yeah, you gotta educate me on what what
yeah,
how in the
so
world did you end up in this scenario?
what is it? Sorry, ma'am, but your boob is showing, right?
hmm
And that's how I said that was a quote that I said was, "Sorry, ma'am, your boob is showing."
That's actually a
So
relief. I'm glad you didn't say 8008 to her because she
yeah,
probably would
you're
have been more confused.
8008, and then I went
I what?
like yeah. I've never touched a girl. So all right, and so you have to remind me if you could. Do you remember if on one of the episodes I was going to look at this, I forgot if we talked about me working for Barge.
No, I don't believe I've ever heard you talk about bros.
Okay, cool. So we'll go ahead and bleep that out. So you guys don't know what job that is. So that'll help because it came from that job. So I got this other job. So I'm like, I'm looking for, this is a not a part-time, but a job that I had. I'm trying to find something else. And this guy comes in and he's like, "Hey, your wife wanted to work." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know about that with you." And I said, "But tell me about this office manager position." And he told me, he's like, he had he owned or part owner of an ADT home security, dealership. So, and it was actually the largest authorized dealer of ADT, which just most people are like, "So what?" But that is, I feel like it was kind of cool because ADT is the largest security company in the world, and they don't just sell, the majority of their sales comes from authorized dealers and in the residential space. And they were the largest resident. I didn't know that because this was just the Brandon office or the Tampa office.
Okay.
And he was telling me about, I was like, "All right, cool." He's like, "Well, I was like, I said, "Well, no, I would like the job. If you want to interview, I'd like it." And he goes, and he's always on his phone and always like moving around. And he's like, "You want to be the office manager?" I go, "Yeah, yeah, yes." And he said, I never thought about having a guy office
Yeah, I was
manager.
gonna
I
say
was like,
this guy sounds definitely some misogynistic vibes going on.
right. Old school dude, old school dude. His name was Dave. Name was Dave. He was one of the most complicated men I've ever met in my life. One of the most interesting people I've ever met in my life. This man was a multimillionaire numerous times. How
Wow.
do you become a multimillionaire numerous times? Not it's because you become a multimillionaire and then you lose it all and then
Oh,
you become a multimillionaire again.
like
So
that.
he
I see. I thought you just meant
so
many times over, but no, he had to
no,
repeat the process.
right, right. And so that means two things, which I've noticed were extremely true. He had the understanding and the capacity to communicate, to make business happen, to uh, to make things happen, to be successful. But he also had this ability to flaw that would allow him to make risky decisions or not the best decisions, and then so there's this up and down. So he's running the Brandon office or in Tampa, right? I come in as the office manager. It just happens to be this is a door knocking facility, a door knocking sales organization. So
Gotcha.
every week there was a new hire training class. Every week, there's a new hire training class with at least 25 people in there. New hire. This is and I would go. I saw Monday. Get in there Monday. I saw the morning sales training or getting everyone together, and I'm like, okay, there's maybe 15 people. Cool. And then on Thursday, Friday, Saturday was training days. When Thursday the new hires come in, there was like, and every week there's like 25 people in here. I'm like, how do we have hiring 25 people every week, but we only have 15 people here?
Because
Because
this
it
is
was a
a cutthroat.
commission only,
Mm.
door knocking, get this basically, hey, do you need home security to make sure strangers don't get into your home? Well, allow me, a stranger, to come into your home, and I'll tell you how. It's a tough gig.
I mean, just to be fair, anytime anybody comes to my door to sell anything ever, it does there's no chance. I'm like literally like I just shut you down. Like I'm like I don't want to be
Mm.
rude, but I am closing the door now. We are not doing this. So
Phil,
that's hard. That's a
Phil,
hard position.
you never had me knock on your door. You never had me knock on your door.
You're
So
right, Aaron. You never come. What's going you got to swing
right.
by sometime.
So knock right on. So my first day there, first day, I came in, I think like on Saturday and Sunday, talked to him, got like my office set up, had a little office and everything. First day, Monday, getting things set up. I've already got a mindset of, okay, it's all about organization. This place was not organized at all. I'm like, okay, I got processes coming in. And this one guy comes in my office. He's like, hey, this is actually second week. He goes, hey, big guy, huge guy, soft spoken, really soft and gentle guy. Hey, is Chris here? Chris was the trainer. Is Chris here? I said, no, he's busy. He's in a meeting. How can I help? What can I help you? He's like, I don't think this is for me. I think I'm gonna quit. And I looked at him. I said, all right, come on in, sit down. Let me go ahead and do this exit interview for it. And he was like, huh? And I don't know if I should have done, but I was like, I'm from a place. And I told him, I said, listen, the way I see it is if you're going to be here and you want to be successful and you want help and you want to make money here, we're going to do everything we can to help you with that. But the second you don't want to be here, we don't want you to be here. And it's not that we don't want you here. If you don't feel comfortable here, you don't feel like this is a thing, then look, let's part ways, be happy, shake hands, right? And he's like, okay. So he sits down. I start filling out this exit. I don't know this guy. I don't know how long he's been here. And I'm filling out this exit interview that I was kind of proud of because that was part of the processes that I got up. I was like, well, one thing we need is an exit interview. So I just made the form. So I'm
Wow.
like, and filling this out. And Chris pops his head in. He's like, hey, John, what you doing in here? He's doing an exit interview for me. He's like, what? And I said, yeah. He goes, no, get up, come here, John. You're not quitting. Come here. I just told him, you're not quitting. Come here. I was like, all right. So first week, actually, this is great. First week, Chris, the trainer, he also did trainings and interviews, and I'm talking about weekly, probably about 150 interviews weekly. just it was, and the phone was constantly ringing, and the advertisement was like misleading, and I'm learning all these things, right? I'm like, what did I just get myself into? What is, like, the ad was misleading. It's like, make this much money and da 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 and blah blah blah. And it was like, they come in and it's like, oh, it's commission only. It's it's, you're walking around, you're knocking on doors, they, and we're having people who are like, almost grandmothers, coming. I mean, it ranges. It ranges. It was very apparent to a lot of people in the training class when they're sitting down in the training, like 25, 30 people, and they're looking around, and like there's like a guy who's like 20 with like a t-shirt and like jeans, and then there's like an older lady in like a business suit. The range, and it's like something here doesn't belong. So the first week, so Chris is out on he was out of on vacation, and Dave, the owner, he was doing the training. So I kind of peek in the training office. It was like a couple doors down in the plaza, and he's like, blah, 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 and he's in front of these people, and he is just like berating them almost. Like he's like, and you can, and when I was, and he's just talking about himself, and he's not going into training of like sale. He's just going, like he has an audience. I go back in my office, an hour later, he comes in sweating. I mean, just sweating. And he's like, oh man. I go, how'd it go? He's like, oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. He goes, hey, I need you to do me a favor. Man, I need to take a break. In 10 minutes, can you go in there and just do some stuff with him, do some training stuff with him? And this was my third day. This is my third day there. And I said, sure. He didn't know. All he knew of me was that I was just some kid who worked at this place that he would frequent, right? And he didn't know that I have heavy, at that time already, I'd been in, well, if you guys are following, I've been in like commission sales since I was like 15 years old. I've been working since I was 12, like jobs, and I'd done sales training. And he said, just go in there and do some training. I don't know. And I said, got it. And I walked in there and I said, all right, guys, so let's talk about sales. And I just did off the cuff sales training. And he came in and he was like, and he sat down in the back and he watched. And I was like, blah, 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 blah. I said, all right, guys, we've been going for about 50 minutes. Let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break and blah, blah, blah. And I walked back to the office and he was like, what the hell was that? And I was like, oh, you didn't know? Like, this guy asked me no questions about my background at all. I was like, yeah, man, I did it. And he's like, oh my goodness, that's awesome. That's great. So that the whole gig was, you would, when you got hired, you'd come in, or like around, you didn't get out in the field. I'm sorry. Here's the proper schedule that was supposed to be. By 1 o'clock, you're out in the field. You're out knocking doors. You're supposed to get there at 10 a.m. And kind of check in, make sure all the paperwork, everything you need is kind of done. At like 10:30 or 11, there was a sales training that should have been like an hour. Like, hey, this is what happened yesterday. This is what we got. These are our goals. This is what we're supposed to do. It's supposed to be an hour. Then, okay, we're going to break, have some lunch. Then at 1 o'clock, we're getting our groups and we're going out to go knock on the door. David wasn't a very organized person, and he was like, go. So there'd be many times where they would be sitting there until like 3 o'clock and just,
oh no,
David, hey, I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. And he's got other things that he's doing, and so it was just wildly chaotic.
You're trying to like make money, but you can't even leave the building till 3 o'clock, and you're like, just like, I'm making no commissions today.
Yeah, it was rough. But here's the thing: the majority of your money came from at like 5 o'clock, and plus, because people are home. That's right. Yeah. So before 5 o'clock, you're basically cherry picking. You're like, okay, there's 2 cars there. Someone's definitely there. It's so funny. I did this for 2 years, and shortly after, about 6 months after being the office manager and having more and more increasing responsibilities, David actually started running the St. Pete office, and he said, I just need you to kind of run things. And next thing I know, I was general manager of the store of the office. And I was like, okay. And 6 months, that's all, and I'm running this office.
It's crazy.
It was it was owned by him and his 2 brothers. They all have a history in Kirby sales, like Kirby vacuums, and which a lot of times isn't the most honest, thing. And a lot of times he was running that sales office like Kirby vacuum. And I've heard him say before, I'm telling you, if you go ahead and get this is going to be great. You sign up for this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get a vacation. I'm a vacation I mean, all the old school things. You know, I'm this close to getting a vacation. You're going to help me out. I greatly appreciate it. It's wild. It's great. So I take over this sales office. I'm now in homes. Now all of that set up. There's so much other crazy stuff. But really, when I start going out in the field, and I don't know anything, I hadn't been in the field at all. And now I'm having to take people and knock on doors, and other people who've been there like less time than me, but have at least been in the field. They're having to show me, and now I'm having to take that and just like, all right, let me just, this is gonna work. Okay. The stories are so wild. And I want everyone to understand. I promise you, these are all true. These are all true. And I've realized in professional settings, I've stopped telling these stories, not because they're not appropriate. Some of them are not appropriate, but because people don't believe me. And they're like, okay, yeah, right. All true, guys. One time, just to pepper this in, I've got a new hire. So I'm taking the new hire. I've busted my chops a little bit. I know what I'm doing. I'm successful in this now. I take a new hire, and my job is to do it by the book with the new hire because it's rough out there. And I just need them to know this is the way that you do it. Like they didn't have the experience and understanding to like jazz, to freestyle. So I'm
you got to learn the rules before you can break them. So here's the handbook.
Like okay, so here's what you would do. I take him right next to me, knock on the door. Always the dun 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 dun. That was always. I don't know why it was instructed to us that is the way, like because it's
shaving a haircut.
Or something.
I don't know.
Right? Yeah, don't know. But so they come in right when they come to the door. It's like, and this things I've learned, I picked up the psychology from David. And for a long time, I was like, I don't think David understands why he does what he does, but he is freaking successful in sales. But I don't think that's why there's a genius to him.
He's like a savant. He just like,
there was, yes. And so I picked up certain things and I would do this because this is disarming. So the people come to the door, hey, how you doing? My name's Aaron. We're out here with ADT's marketing department. And we're trying to find some select homes where we can put this sign in your front yard. And what that does for us, that gives us free advertisement. But also what we're going to do is not really free for us, because for allowing us to have that sign in the front yard, we're going to give you a security system at no cost, a security system to cover this place at no cost. It's a $99, but I wouldn't talk about money, at no cost. And they haven't even been able to say anything yet. And I said, and I just say, and I'd love to show you what I got. And then I always peek over behind them, because every home that we'd go into, almost everyone had a sliding glass door in the back. That's like Florida, sliding glass door. And I'm like, oh, I see you have a sliding glass door. That's actually really easy to get into. Can I show you something real quick? And I would point. This was instructed. Point, look down at my feet. So break eye contact with them. Point past them, look down, and start wiping my feet. Just start wiping my feet. And I tell that to people, and they're like, okay, like that worked 90% of the time.
Wow.
Because we're trained to, when someone's at your door and they wipe their feet, it's because they're coming in. And what do? You want them to come in. So you instinctively move to the side. Almost every time. I point forward, I start wiping my feet, and I'm looking at their feet and just waiting for them to go boop. So often I go, thank you. And I walk right for it, and I walk straight through their house, straight to the slider. And I said, so these are really great. Everyone has this, but what people don't understand is that this is very easy to break into. And, oh, well, I have the lock on it. Absolutely. But here's the thing. If you go on the outside, the backside of it, you see this door, the door's on the outside. All you have to do is lift up. And I lifted it up, and it comes off. And I said, and it comes right off. And they were, when I got to that point, that would get them. They're like, okay, we're going to talk then, because that would scare people. That would put fear in them. And it's true. And then when I tell them that's like crazy. I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. That is wild, but that's not the number one way that people break into your homes. The number one way people break into the homes is through the front door. And they're like, what? Why not here? Said because in the front door, it only takes about 400 pounds of, or you only takes about 200 or 150 pounds of pressure to kick in a front door. And the average person has about 400 pounds of pressure in one leg, in their dominant leg. So they kick in the front door and they walk right in, they close the front door. If a neighbor hears a boom, by the time the neighbor looks outside, they see a closed door. They don't see anything. They don't see broken wood because the wood's on the inside. And I said, that's it. And people would be like, well, what do you have? And then I'd go into my whole pitch and I have like a little folder and I'd show them the thing and I'd go through the whole sales thing. And look, when it worked and it went well, it went great, but every now and then, for instance, I would have 2 times I've had someone come and pull a gun out, like pull in the middle of a sales. Okay. So then this happened. Oh, this was really weird.
What do
so
you do? Just leave at that point when the gun comes out? You're just like, goodbye?
No, you close that sale. You close that sale because that's what an expert does. And that's what I did. You close it.
Wow.
You close it.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like, all right, well, look, if he's threatening me with a gun, is he going to shoot me? People saw me in this neighborhood. He's going to shoot me.
Impressive.
Very bold. Very scary. Foolhardy. So the story, the quote, right? The quote.
Yeah, I'm like, when do we get to the boobs, Aaron?
I wish.
Sorry.
No. I wish it was only one time. This one particular, knock on the door. It's around, I don't know, noon, 1 o'clock, something like that. Lady comes to the door. She's been sleeping. We woke her up. She's got her her robe on, and it's like a thin kind of robe. And she's like, oh, hey, she's just got it. And she's got the door open. And I'm talking to her. And no, the trainee is talking. So I'm able to observe. And her boob is out. She has one whole boob that she went to grab it, like she covered, and just out. And I'm like, okay, I can't be like, hey, buddy, stop talking. So he kind of finished it. And I said, I'm sorry, ma'am. You're, and she was, you can tell she was kind of friendly and just nice person. I was like, I'm sorry, your boob is showing. I didn't, in my 27-year-old brain, like I was like, this is your boob is, and she goes just like this. She goes, oh, sorry, does like this, covers it up, the other one falls out. It's like, I said, no, we're just gonna, I'm not even, what am I gonna do? Now the other one's out, just let that one ride. But that happened quite often. There were people that not quite often, but that happened more than one time where like someone would come to the door and they weren't fully dressed. Had someone come to the door one time naked, because that was their way of saying, stop knocking on my door.
Oh, yeah.
Where they would knock, and
works.
dude opens the door and he's just slanging. And he's just there. What's up? And he's like, I will do this as long as you want to do this, buddy. Here's the thing. I like a challenge. So I'm like, all right, you think you're cool? Okay. Look, I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, which means every Saturday as a child, I was out knocking on doors. You think I'm not prepared for this, And, of course, like, get the hell out of here. That's usually how it was.
You're like, you didn't know I used to work at that Walmart right down from the nudist place. So, I mean, this is
exactly right.
Crazy.
Par for the course. One time I was had a trainee. The trainee, for some reason, there was 3 of us at the door. I forget why, but that's like too much. But I was like, one guy, John Janney, this kid was so funny. He's just a funny guy. And we had a trainee and I just happened to swing by. I was like, yeah, I'll be at the door too. I want to see how also John trains, and just observing.
Oh, I see.
I opened the door.
The trainer. Who trains?
Yeah, just observing. Yeah. Who watches the watchman? Yeah. So guy opens the door. He is apparent. It's apparent that he has a mental disability or some kind of disability of some sort. Is an older guy. And he comes to the door with his robe on open, right? Naked. The trainee, again, is just eye contact locked. And he's like, hey, da, 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 da. And before the trainee can even get to a point, and the guy is like, drool coming down. John and I are like, we're locked in, like, what is going? This is, his older guy. He's like, and his junk is out. Phil, I'm gonna leave this up to you as producer and editor, whether you want to censor this or not. but how can I say it? There was discharge.
Oh,
Come, like how when you go to the dentist and they pull it and there's a string of okay, yeah. So and I see it and I'm like, what is going? It all happened so quickly. John, John in the middle of the training talking. John goes, what is that? He just points. He goes, what? Ew, ew. And
yeah.
I'm like, John, shut up. Hi, sorry, sir. Sorry, I gotta. And the trainee still didn't get it because he's locked eye contact. Now he turns over to John and he looks over. And then when he looks back at the guy, he looks at the whole thing. He's like, what? And John's like, what? John turns to me, points at the guy, and he's like, what is this? What is that? Like, sorry, sir. We got a wrong house. Wrong house.
It's over. Call it.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
It's done. Many times I have thought about starting a podcast or just a video series of lessons learned from David, because for the 2.5 years that I worked for him and for the 1.5 years, 2 years until he passed, which wasn't a long time, the impact that this man made on me was profound. The impact this man made on other people, negative and positive. There wasn't anyone who's like, David, I'm not sure if I met. No, if you met David, you knew David. You knew him. Local vendors in the area. I'd be like, hey, yeah, we're coming over. Oh, yeah, I got you. Yeah. Because he would just go everywhere and talk to everyone and just force his conversation himself on other people and he was relentless to the point where they were like, all right, I guess I'm listening to this guy. It was an amazing experience. I learned so much psychology, so much sales, so much of just communication from that job. What was his name? Jamie Foxx. He did door-to-door sales, and he said 2 years doing door-to-door sales straight, 2 years door-to-door sales is the equivalent of a 4-year communications degree. He was easy. He's like, you would understand. He was with like a minor in psychology, because like if you're doing it 2 years, that means you had to be good. So if you focus,
you weren't those people that were gone at the end of the training week. You were
no. That was, and again, I've got 10 more stories of David right now, I could tell you. And I've got 30 more stories of more than that. So many ridiculous stories from the job. I'm telling you, we need to revisit this job.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do like a sub-series of episodes just on that one. But I mean, normally this would be the part of the show when we would say, what were your revelations? What did you take away from this? But you just gave us,
life lessons.
So many things.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we have to do a special revisiting of what you learned from that one, because it was all right there.
It's wild. The life lessons. I mean, I think about this every now and then. It's just a weird situation and weird job to be in, and weird individuals, because the people who jump and say, yes, I'm going to start doing this, they're not the corporate people. They're people who's like, it's not like someone's got a degree and they're like, I'm going to do this. It's people that's all they got right now. This is what they got. This is what they're able to do. And so you have people who are down on their luck. You have people who have been, who are just trying to do something, who are maybe unfocused and trying to, amazing stories, man. I'm so glad we talked about this, because it's just reminding me about so many things that I've learned. But yeah, that series, Lessons from David, I would love to do that, because it's a book easily a book could be written about him. And that was the biggest thing Curtis and I were talking about after he passed away. We're like, all that talent, skill, and all that information and knowledge is lost. He's like, I wish he wrote a book. He's like, I wish my brother wrote a book and just was able to depart all this information. Yeah, great time. David, good old David. Love him. Absolutely.
You're gonna have to find a picture of David. There's no way we can do this episode without,
There was a time,
we gotta put him in there somehow. He's too central to this narrative.
There was a time in when I was working there where I could type in David Weinstein and just start pressing B, and David Weinstein, Brandon, Florida would come up, and you'd click him like he was known. Uh, a lot of not good things, like, oh, he lied to me, he did it, but I didn't. I saw him cheat the truth, but I never saw him like outright lie. It's almost like buyer beware with David. You got to
Yeah.
buyer beware with David. But
He was a salesperson,
he was
that's a
the
skill that you know how to tell the side you need to
yes.
tell, like
Yeah. It's amazing. Let me show you. You're going to be so safe. You're going to love it. I'm going to love it. You love it. We all love it. Like these are, I'm not even, I'm like I said, I'm toning back. I'm toning back, David. Phenomenal. Thank you. Thank you for, man, dude, thank you for letting me talk about this. I know this went long. So we're gonna do some editing, I'm sure. I don't know. There might be maybe a part two.
Yeah, I was gonna
Maybe
say we might have a bonus episode or something come out of this because
a
it got a
bonus
lot of
episode, or maybe
material.
some shorts, maybe some of the stories that are, just put in the shorts, like extra shorts, something, because yeah, I'd like to get David's stories. I'd love for people to know the good person and the interesting person that he was. So
Nice.
that'd be great. So thank you again. But so life lessons, there's been those that I've talked about, but from you, so what life lessons were you able to learn? Were you able to glean from your job being a forced carpenter?
Yeah.
You're a carpenter now. Go make an arch.
There's a lot that I learned from that job. I mean, there's so many takeaways, but I'll just try to boil it down to, that experience gave me perspective. It showed me how you can be chasing a dream and end up at the bottom of your situation,
Mm,
and then you go on, you go with the flow. And I wouldn't have ended up at that job if I wasn't. It sounds the way you describe the people that would show up to these trainings is that they needed to work, they needed to make
mhm,
ends meet, and that's where I was, and I went with it, and it was good for me for a while, but it also showed me all the other aspects of my career that, that were always there to me, but the grass is greener. I want to be a musician. That's the life that's going to be better than selling glasses. And, you kind of follow that path for a while until you're like, oh, eh, they all have their pros and cons. You got to, pick your poison. And, that part of my life ran its course, and I found that the grass is greener where you water it. Like I found a
oh,
lot of success in I went on to go back into optical after that, and I ended up opening a practice with an eye doctor here in Denver, and I was there for 7 years, and it was really successful. We got it up to $1 million practice in 3 years, and I wouldn't have probably ever been in that place if I hadn't gone through the whole other alternative lifestyle that I thought, hey, this is where I want to be.
right,
This is what I need to be doing. Sometimes you go there, you go where you think you're supposed to go. It opens your eyes, and I'm grateful for every opportunity. I don't miss working at an eye doctor place anymore, but I really appreciate it. I really appreciate
right,
the opportunities that I had there, and it was because not all opportunities are the same. I got one that helped me get out of credit card debt, but it was not how I wanted to be spending the rest of my days.
right,
Like, and especially now that I have a family, I'm glad I'm not up at 2 in the morning until 7 a.m. and building stages and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's just,
right.
people always, you're in a situation, you look to the other one thinking that's where I want to be. And, you know, I hope that's true for everybody that feels that way, but it's not always the case, like
Right.
sometimes you got it better than you know.
Right. And I love how just the idea of look, those experiences, no matter how ridiculous or crazy or stressful they may be, they put you on the path to where you're at, where you are right now.
Absolutely.
There's
Yeah.
contributed. My son, 6 years old, love him, Nico. Shout out to Nico.
Nico.
Nico. So he asks me often, doing this. He's doing. I don't know why. It's just kids go through phases and they start asking things. And he asked me, "Hey, Daddy, what age would you want to be? If you could be any of your ages from before, what age do you want to be?" And my answer always is this age right now. I go this age right now
Nice.
because I'm able to look back and I said, baby, I've got you, I've got your sister, I've got mommy. I said, I'm blessed. We're blessed. I love where I am, where I'm, and I wouldn't be there unless I went through all of the things that I went through, in every other age, in every other year that I was alive. I said, so I don't want to go back. I'm trying to have my 6-year-old, like wrap his brain. I was like, I wouldn't want to go back to that spot, because what if I'd do something differently, and then I wouldn't have this right now. I said, baby, I wouldn't risk it for anything in the world. Right now, this age I am right now today. And then he goes, I wish I was 1.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could probably answer that question. I would probably go back to being 25 like many times. That was a great age. I mean, but I totally agree with the perspective you're giving everyone, is that you get to where you are, and it took every experience you had before that to get to this place. So but yeah, definitely had some fun in the mid-20s. Wouldn't mind visiting. If I could just like holodeck into that and spend a few hours and come back.
Yeah. Now, if he asks, hey, Daddy, what age was super cool? Oh, let me tell you, son. Let me tell you, there's some cool ages, but dude, this has been such a great convo. I love this episode. This is amazing. And I thank you so very much.
Yeah, this was a blast. Thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to one day cutting it up, telling stories with you, and it was everything I hoped for. So thank you very much for giving me the time. I'll be back in the producer man behind the screen for you next time. But yeah, for today I got to come out and
the mouse and keyboards DJ. Your mouse keyboard DJ. I love it. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Again, thank you so much, Phil. Hey, everyone out there in computer land who has listened through this whole thing, I thank you so very much. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. Peace. See you guys.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh, like and subscribe. F in the chat.
That's what everybody says, right?
Right. Like and subscribe. Bye, guys.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.